Today, we are going to talk about a topic that not many coaches actually talk about. It is probably almost too obvious, and it is. So, the topic is, how do you know if your niche is working? One thing I have noticed that from coaching my own clients, we spend almost weeks and sometimes even months talking about a coaching niche and messaging. And once I leave you alone, here's what happened. You go back to the drawing board and you do more thinking on that same niche again and again. So, this is really important, and it becomes this invisible rabbit hole that keeps you stuck going back, and you feel like you're never coming out of it. And no matter how clear that we have came up with the niche, until you do these three things, okay, you're probably not going to know whether or not it is working. So comment down below niche if you've been finding yourself coming up with a statement and you keep going back asking ChatGPT, and no matter how many versions ChatGPT gave you, you're still sitting there with a lot of idea, but you have no idea of which one is actually the best. This topic is really for those of you who have came up with a niche. You have the statement, you have it written down somewhere, you think this might be it, you're not quite entirely sure, or maybe you work with me and you took one of my digital course in the past and you decided somewhere along the line something is not aligned anymore and you're going back and pivoted. Or maybe you are someone who have got lucky, got a couple of good client first, but then somewhere along that line you feel like you're ready to get boxed in. So today I am going to share three really simple way that you can do this. You can test out your niche to see and to notice if they're actually working. First one should be obvious, right? The way that you know is you can post it. I know it sounds so scary, right? You want me to post it? Yes, I want you to post it. So, what you want to do is you want to update all your social media bio, your header, everything. And that is going to do a couple of things. And what I want you to pay attention to is as you're posting it, notice the reaction from your audience. Now, I see a lot of coaches when they post the I help statement, they just simply update their bio, update their banner. The banner looks beautiful, it's on brand, it's amazing, but you left out the real important asset in that post, which is in the caption. Right, in the caption, right, caption in the comment down below if this is something that you have done. You put in the work, you have that statement, you create a beautiful Canva header and you put it onto your Facebook, or you updated your Instagram and account and it has all these pretty emoji. It's truly grabbing attention, but nobody knows about it. Why? Because you're missing out on using that valuable asset, which is writing a caption. Now, what do you write about? So here are some idea for you to write about. One is if you are completely new to your Facebook profile and a lot of your followers don't know what you do or is not aware that you have became a certified coach, then this would be a great opportunity to insert that line and post about your self intro, about your origin story. So what does it look like? It looks something like this. Okay. Those of you who know me for years, you might know me for X. But here's something that you didn't know about me, and I'm ready to come out and I'm ready to share that with you. This has been a passion of mine, a passion work for the last 3 months, 6 months, however long time that you held it back, and now you're ready to share. And you can say, I recently became a certified professional coach. Okay. And here's where you add that I help statement. I help who with what so they can have the result that they want. Super simple, but you're utilizing that valuable asset on social media, which is the caption, because a lot of us still like to write. If you post something, and this is true, I see a lot of coaches posting quotes and inspiration. You're sharing great inspiration and it's meaningful, but it's not only just meaningful to you but also to your reader. So as a reader, I would like to know exactly what does the quote means to you. And if you're just simply cross posting and sharing an inspiration quote, then it really doesn't have any meaning to anybody, right? I'm sure it had meaning for you. So what is it? Make it resonate with your audience, and that will be give you an opportunity for your audience to know you. So I digress a little bit. Let's go back to how do you know your niche is working. So number one is to post it, to test it, right? And as you're posting it, I want you to observe the reaction from your audience. Are people clicking? Are people liking? Are people commenting on the post and say, oh my goodness, this is something I didn't know about you? Does it sound like you? And you yourself, you can go back and look at that post. Does it sound like you? If not, like, how do you make it sound more like you? What are some of the words that you would use and that not ChatGPT would use? So you go back and look at that post and does it sound like you? Would you stop to look at this post, right? Is it something that grabs your attention? Do you have the graphic to match it? Is it something that just get buried among all your other posts? How do you make it pop? So Canva graphic would be a great thing. Your photo, your professional looking photo would be another great thing that people would connect and resonate with. Family photos sometimes, strangely enough, right? And also pet photo. If you have a fur baby, sometimes fur baby capture people's attention. So if you want their attention, that would be a great trick without tagging anybody. So this is a great way to also to launch and test the comments, your community, who's actually following you, who's looking at your social media feed. It's a great way to test not only the I help statement or your niche, but it's also a great way to get a sense of who is watching and who's reading your posts, what's coming up for them, right? Because we never know how algorithm is going to work. And how you launch this again is you wanted to include a short post, something along the line of, hey, I'm Michelle. You might know me as a, for example, clinical pharmacist or a friend who loves counting down to Christmas, but you might not know I'm also a professional life coach, for example. And I help who with what so they can do have the result that they want. And I got into coaching because back in 2016, I was on a mission to finding myself after years of body shaming, waking up feeling uninspired, etc., etc. So you can fill in the blank, and this is how it works. So number one, to test and to know whether or not your niche is working is actually implement it and put it into practice. Now, every so often you might come back and you say, Michelle, but that statement or that niche is not aligned anymore. Then here's your opportunity to reintroduce yourself again, right? So every so often, you can always go back and reintroduce yourself using the same format, same type of pose, and update anything that had changed. Maybe you took on another certification, you become DEI certified, or whatever it is. You can always go back and reintroduce yourself because chances are people forget you. So reinforcement is always good. Okay. So number one to test is to post it. Number two is to ask three people, three friends, or you could be business bestie. And these are not the people that you interview or you did your niche research. Okay. These are the people who they know you, they know how you talk, how you describe things, what your energy is, what your vibe is. These are the people who already know you. So literally messaging three friends or business bestie and ask them, hey, how would you describe me as a coach? Now, chances are your friend who is not a coach, hopefully, you don't want to have another coach. If you're working with a coach, you're helping coaches, then sure, for sure, you can ask your coach friend. But if you're not working with coaches, you wanted to ask your real life friend and ask them, hey, how would you describe me as a coach? And what I would encourage you to do is to just listen. You're not defending anything, you're not explaining anything, you're just sitting there and just observing how they're using the words to describe what coaching is or what you do as a coach. So look for these three people in your circle and ask them, how would you describe mindfulness, for example? So the other day I came across a niche with a health and wellness coach, and she's helping mindful parenting. Mindfulness is not a word that many people use. Every day, I don't go onto Google or social looking for how do I become more mindful. Unless you are familiar with the mindfulness, most of the time we don't go onto internet looking for how do I become more mindful. So you wanted to pay attention to how your regular friends who's not coach, how they use the language to describe the struggles and challenges, and take notes of that. So I have a section on my phone where I keep all these different words that I came across, or I would text a coach friend of mine or my past client and pay attention to the word that they're using. And you create a library for yourself. And as you're using these words, you can then plug it back into your niche statement to figure out exactly how do I land that plane that it's been so high up. How are other people describing it that they understand? They may not understand mindfulness, but they understand, let's say, for example, maybe they're just looking for a way that I don't have to lose myself or I don't have to be angry all the time. That would be one of the description that they're using. How do I help someone to become less angry or less triggered? Those are the words that they might be using. If people who know you well and they cannot explain clearly what you do as a coach, then that's a sign that your audience probably won't either. So that will also tell you if your niche is not landing, if it's just floating in the air. The third way that you can know and test to see if your niche is actually working is by auditing your own post. So go back to your social media post, you pull up your last Instagram post or email and caption, and ask yourself, when I share this post, is it solving or bringing the awareness to a problem? What is that problem? So if the person doesn't have a lot of awareness or mindfulness, what is the problem behind awareness or mindfulness? If you don't have that, then something is missing in that niche. That's why it's not landing or it doesn't resonate because you are just driving in circle and talking about the general stuff, right? And you also want to looking at your post, will my dream clients see themselves in there? I see this common mistake a lot for a lot of coaches when they're posting on social, they're posting for themselves. I know it might be triggering, it's a fact. You're posting for yourself. You're writing a post. It creates great information, their information, but their information that's for you and you understand, a coach understand, but your client don't understand. They don't see themselves in that post. And I actually have example like back in the old days when I posting mindfulness, meditation, journaling, waking up in the morning, meditate, all that stuff, but your client waking up in the morning, they're going to have a different experience. What is that experience? If I posting about meditation, mindfulness, it's too far away for them. So they don't see themselves in it. And that would also be an indication that your niche, your I help statement, something in there, it's not working, it's not landing. Because your niche, your I help statement is going to allow you to create content that reflect of what you're going to help them with, and plus the result or the outcome that they're going to experience. And how do you create content that connects with them? It goes way back to your I help statement, it goes way back to the niche that you decided to put yourself in. Okay. So it comes down the whole line of picture before you even thinking about posting. And this is something I actually would encourage my clients to not to do is until you have the clarity to the messaging, I actually don't want you to start posting because when you start posting, it's just going to create a lot of confusion, not just for you, but also for your audience who don't know much about what you do. So until you have that niche messaging clarity, you probably want to hold back on posting. Three way that you can tell if your niche is working, if your iHelp is working, rather than keep it into somewhere in your Google Doc, in your folder. First way to know is you actually post it. Right? Not just creating pretty banner or updating your Instagram bio or that header on your LinkedIn profile. It's actually create a post, create a piece of content that is embedded that introduce you as the expert, as the coach, as the go to person for this particular problem your clients would experience. The second way to know is you want to ask three people that you know. You say the I help statement to them and get a feel of what do you think this is what I do? What do you think I do? And let them explain, let them reflect back to you and just listen. Okay. You're not defending, you're not explaining. Well, that's not what life coaching is really. So you wanted to hold that space and just allow them to say what they hear. And what you do with those words that they're using is you take it down and create a library of all these different words that your audience is saying, your friends are saying, your followers are saying. That creates a way of creating more content in the future that will actually resonate. And this is something I actually teach inside my program. So if you want to know like how to create content that resonate with your dream client, one of the things I teach is you need to create a library of words that your ideal client is using. The third way to know if your niche is working is to audit your own post, right? So you go back to the last post, email, or caption and just ask yourself, is this clear? Does it have a problem? And can my ideal dream clients see themselves in it? Or did I just create it for myself? I can check off a box. I posted something today, but does your dream client actually see themselves in it? And that would be a better question to ask, right? So if it doesn't, then something is missing because your I help, your niche is supposed to bring people back to your coaching offer. If it's not doing that, then that's probably the reason why you're not getting any clients, or maybe the client who's jumping onto your discovery call are not the best client. It's because that messaging, that initial step is off. Your action step for this week is you're going to pick one of these three tests that you're going to try out, and just one. Today will be a great opportunity and chance for you to actually take that action step. First of all, to post it, to share it with your friends, and also to honestly observe and ask yourself, does this make sense? And your audience is going to tell you a lot whether or not this makes sense. And don't overcomplicate it. Okay. So you could be sitting there with that I help statement for weeks and months and years, right? If you don't put it into action, you're not going to see any result. Put down in the comment, actions equal result. If you know that something is missing and you're struggling to create content, like I said, we need to go back to fix what was before that. So before you start creating content, one of the most important thing is having a clear statement. And that statement is going to have a promise of the result of the outcome that your potential client is going to experience it. So in order to do that, I actually created a totally brand new masterclass where I'm going to show you exactly, even when you don't feel your niche is perfect, when you don't feel like I had it all together, I want you to come and attend this masterclass because this is a brand new masterclass where I'm going to show you and teach you how to market, get client, and building a coaching business without having a perfect niche. And trust me, I've done this. I've helped my clients do this. That statement does not need to be perfect. You just need to know how to describe it. And I'm going to teach you my three-step framework of how you can say what you do without having that perfect niche, without having that, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I'm going to land on. So you'll actually walk away with a lot of clarity, knowing exactly what is my next step that I need to take in order to build that coaching business I dream of. So go grab a seat. And if you know someone who needs to be in the class, invite them and be in the class. Now, with that said, hopefully after today, you're going to take one of the action steps to get you to book three clients by Friday And those are the important steps that you have to take. You can't just keep it in your Google folder or written down somewhere in your journal. That's not going to work. You have to take it out to the world. And the three best way that you can take it out to the world is one, just simply post it and get a reaction, see the reaction of your audience. And the other way is to ask your friends, what comes up for you? What do you think about this? And they're going to say a lot of reflection and feedback for you. Take them down. You don't have to implement them. You can always come back to Michelle. I'm going to give you feedback. And you're always welcome to post it inside the community. I'll give you feedback. But whatever you do not let your I help statement go to your journal pages to die. With that, I will see you next week.
You are my breath and love, baby. You are my light in the dark. It's time.